So a heart-centered approach to life
Mhm.
yields a more fulfilling life, but I wonder how it also yields a more connected life.
Mm.
And how can you apply some of these teachings towards greater inclusivity, greater community, greater betterment for the people around you?
Mm. Well, I think the 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 hallmark of the heart is inclusiveness, because in that heart space, everything's in. Your all your shadowy, fearful, covetous, that's in, because you got to love on that. And your glory and your power and your talent and your genius and your sexy, that's in too. It's all, there's space for everything. And if I can create that space within my own self for everything, that I got space for your stuff. And if I'm accepting myself and celebrating myself, that just radiates out into like, how can I celebrate and accept you? And then I just move into this kind of cosmic largesse where, well, I just move into a state of love where my happiness is predicated on your happiness. I feel your pain and I have compassion for your pain and I want for your joy. And when you're in that space, you're going to want for different things. You're going to want for things on behalf of other people. Your goals, I think, will turn inside out or dissolve completely. I don't think we live goallessly. I mean, I've struggled with goals for 20 years. But I think your vision changes about what's ideal. Yeah.
So literally, your vision board actually physically changes.
Yeah. Your vision board, like what it like we have gone are the days of, we all want the basics. We want we want the union, the family, the relationship. That's always on the vision board. And then there's a kind of body we want that's on the vision board. And then there's the stuff and there's a status. It's all great. We get to want all those things. Joy is our birthright. Have at it. You get to say what you want, makes you happy. But could we just make some room for, like, what if very literally you had images on your vision board of other people whose happiness you were wishing for, or some bucolic neighborhood scene. And while you're in it, why don't you throw in a photo of a lush Amazonian rainforest? And so that, all that prayer that you're in and the visualizing and the meditating you're doing to manifest and all that stuff you're doing every day with your core desired feelings and desire mapping, it it's not just for you. It's for all of us, or it's for more than just you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we tend to think of ourselves as distinct individuals, and we're the most obvious manifestation of that, of our individuation, is like our physical bodies. Like, I am my body and you are your body, and that demarcation is our separateness.
Mm-hmm.
And then you actually start to kind of like unpack that. Like, where do I start and end? Like, if my leg is asleep, am I my leg? I don't even feel it. Or I only have 20,000 genes and I have like 16 million genes of bacteria and fungi living in my gut and my mouth and on my skin. So I'm not even really me. I'm all these other things. What are those things? Oh, yeah, that's what we call nature. Wait, I thought I had dominion over that. I'm separate from. No, no, no. I am that. Oh, yeah, guess what? That tree out my window, that's allowing me to breathe. Guess what? Giving you a hug is increasing my immunity because you're giving me your bacteria. So there's this, like, the body, that I am my body and you are your body and we're separate. That breaks down real quick. But I think the next level of that is that when you become, I think, clear on your core desired feelings, when you start to live in a place of love, of compassion, of forgiveness, of empathy, essentially all the things that just in the end make life worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
those things all share one thing in common, or four things.
Tell me.
They're formless. They're
Mm-hmm.
outside of any location. They're
Mm-hmm.
outside of any space. And they're outside of any time. So I I am not separate. If I have no form,
Mm-hmm.
if I have no location and I'm not bound by the vacillations of space and time, then I am you. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's hard to live from that place all the time, but that's why we do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this these teachings offer is a place is an opportunity to stay close to the work
Mm-hmm.
that opens that possibility to live in that in our infinite soul, in that place that there is no separateness. So yeah, I'm very grateful for it.
So beautiful. We've had a lot of conversations. It takes a lot to move me at this point. I'm like, you got me.
Yeah.
You get me all the
Um,
time.
but I think the other thing that you've always, I think, stood so strongly for, and I think what Desire Map helps with, is this notion of real community. I mean, and you've built those and local, real community, like each other's name, like when you're sick, like I can bring you some fucking soup,
Mm-hmm.
kind of style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, heart includes everything. And I think once you get into my experience with desire mapping has been, the big light bulb for so many people, mostly it's a lot of women, is it's like epiphany number one, ding, entry point. My feelings matter. Yes, you hear this a lot from corporate women
mm,
who have been, yeah, where there's a lot of polyester and constriction. So yes, your feelings matter. And when you move through that and you do the work to honor that your feelings matter and you move into your free will, then you start to realize, like, well, my feelings matter, everybody else's matter. You start to communicate non-violently. You start to consider other people's feelings. So it's so cheese, but community starts with you. Yeah. And that community, and we can even like internalize that even more. It's like, some psychologists will speak in the language of inner selves, which I don't use that phrase much because it sounds a bit schizophrenic, but let's say we have inner selves, and that's my community. That's what's at my home base, my wounded self, my daring self, my inner child, my future self, my superhero self, which actually I've worked into desire mapping. There's a whole exercise where how does your inner child want to feel? Have you ever considered that? What's your superhero self feel? If it's like, can't be defeated and it's courageous, what does it need to feel every day? And then my favorite is, how does your future self want to feel? Because when you project your image of yourself into the future, 9 times out of 10, we'll see someone who we perceive to be stronger and greater and wiser than ourselves. And so come from that place. So you're sourcing your core feelings from strength instead of things suck right now and I just want them to not suck. Not sucking is my core desired feeling.
yeah.
I want you to aim a little higher. We're going for virtues here. Yeah.
We're going for, yeah, it's funny. I was thinking Russell gave me this little tidbit, which was the definition of envy, which he beautifully articulated as the projection of your unfulfilled potential onto someone else.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
projection of your unfulfilled potential onto someone else. And for me, I started to think about that. That's kind of the shadow of a virtue. Um, and it brought up this experience that I had when my kids were really young. And when they were just little baby nuggets and they're 10, 12, and 15 now. So, but when they were young and we lived in New York, and they all slept in one room, and when they would get sick, I would go into their room and I would hug them as tight as I possibly could. And I would whisper into their ear, I would say, "Give it to me.
Mhm.
You can give it to me. I'm
Mhm.
strong. I can handle it. You can just give it to me." And they would just be like these little hot potatoes, like so sweaty and hot.
Pretty little bunnies, yeah.
And I just remember that time, and in and of that moment, all there was the world. There was no me.
Mm,
There was no me, just the world. And that is my fulfilled potential
mm,
right there.
mm,
Just completely selfless. That's it. And the feeling that would give me coming back upstairs all sopping wet, changing my t-shirt, getting back into my own bed, of like, just
mm, mm,
transcendence. That's it. Christ consciousness, Brahman, Advaita, Moksha, Kaivalya, freedom, whatever. That's it.
mm,
Like I was no longer hampered by my own self, by my own desire, by my own, you know, wicked distractions.
mhm,
Like, and that to me is like, that is the essence of living within your core desire feelings.
mhm. To give is to receive. That's it. It's been so trivialized, but that is it. Yeah, love. Your happiness matters as much to me as my own happiness, if not more sometimes. And I think, in this wellness space, the self-help space, the conversation around boundaries is really important and crucial, and it's an entry point to self-esteem and health. But there are times when someone else's happiness matters more than yours.
Mm.
And if you are referencing your heart, if you're coming from that space of those virtues, it gives you the strength to step outside of your ego and to throw someone a line. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This has been sitting here, and I didn't make the connection until just right now. But you know what this is?
The dolls.
Yeah. So if you don't know that there's something inside of there, you don't know.
Mm-mm.
So if you don't do the work, you don't know. You're going to be just babushka lady.
The big babushka. Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose part of the core desired feelings is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
There's
this
love.
process,
There's compassion.
this,
There's joy. There's generosity.
you're going to have to get really creative.
There's inclusiveness. There's forgiveness. Oh, wow. She's
Oh
good.
my God.
There's compassion. Yeah.
That's good. All right. I love you.
I love you too.
That was fun.
Hugs to everybody.